and crazy and wonderful. Good morning, welcome to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. It is October 18th at the time of filming, and our estimated first frost date is October 19th. I don't think we're going to make it. However, we do have a storm coming through tonight that's going to bring a lot of wind, and it will bring some cold, so who knows, it might only be a few days late, which is insane. It's been so warm. When we do get our frost, I will have to put this lovely key lime bush plant in my shed over here. This is where it lives. It will not like the frost. We do have lots of little baby key limes coming in on it. When this was in full bloom, it lasted about maybe 2 weeks. The bumblebees were all over the place. They absolutely adored this plant. Here we go into the very chaotic perennial garden. Our roses are giving us their last hurrah. These are the secret tea rose. There's a bunch of them. They smell lovely. I had been harvesting the petals and steeping them in oil for body care products, and I'm getting ready to actually make those. I'm very excited. Now, this is one thing that I'm not sure we're going to get to harvest fruit off of. These are maypops, and I did see some fruits coming on. Like there's one right here, but I don't think we're going to have time before the freeze to get that to maturity. There is a bigger one over here, but see, even this, it's starting to get kind of squishy, but you really want these to be like old and wrinkly looking before you harvest. So I don't know that we're gonna get the fruit off of the maypops this year, but next year should be grand. The loofah is really starting to die back. A lot of the gourds have turned brown. This is not my favorite way to harvest them when they turn brown and crispy. A lot of people say that you should wait until they turn brown and crispy to harvest them and process them, but I actually prefer them more at this stage. They're definitely big and the skin is thick and they're dense, but they're not dry like this. They come out super bright white when you process them green. I do have a video on processing green loofah, and I'll make sure that I link it below. Really, I think the star of this space right now are the volunteer zinnias. Look, we've got another one of these. This is the candy cane zinnia, and I've seen a couple of the nearly half and half looking blooms. Isn't that so cool? But yeah, the bees and butterflies have really been loving the last little bits that they can get out of these flowers. Back here I have some grapes. I have some roselle. I don't know if this one is starting to put on its calyxes or not. Yep, here we go. Now I haven't seen any actual flowering, but we do have these small calyxes. That one looks like it might be close. These guys, I'm not able to really cover them or put them underneath any kind of substantial fabric or anything to protect them from frost. I do have a couple that are over near my greenhouse that I could move, and I plan to move later with the help of my husband so that we can actually get the roselle calyxes after they flower, so we can get seed. Here is the Jerusalem artichoke bed. What we harvest off of this plant actually is underground, and I actually don't plan to harvest the Jerusalem artichoke this year. I had put in 10 little baby Jerusalem artichokes in this bed earlier in the year, and they've established quite well. I'm sure they have multiplied quite well underneath the ground, and that's good. Next year I'll think about harvesting. I could harvest this year, but I'm just not gonna. Here we have the wild and crazy asparagus doing the normal fall thing. I will wait until we get our first killing frost to go ahead and clean this up. I may even wait extra long to clean this up. I tend to do that. Fall Heather is tired. Spring Heather has a lot more energy. You're harvesting tomatoes? Yeah. Okay, I'm coming. Okay, yeah, that bed is breaking. I was gonna walk right past this space, but
my tomatoes.
Molly's out here. What are you gonna do with those tomatoes?
Eat them.
Molly still has excitement for tomatoes. Clearly I do not. Oh wow. Yeah, Molly said she harvested. So here we have a tomato that isn't quite fully ripe, but it will ripen because it has started to ripen. It will ripen inside the house. Yeah, that one started to blush too. I have harvested fully green tomatoes before and left them, and they eventually did turn red, but they were that really gross mealy texture. Not a good flavor at all. Not worth doing. But I think even a green tomato will get red eventually. When they have been allowed to blush, this is when the flavor is still nice. Now we've got to come down to the barn for a second and grab my wagon. Over here I do have a yellow rose that is also a secret tea rose, and this one has just sort of gone by, but this has done well in this spot this year. I also had put in this Lady Banks rose, and it is a yellow one, and it was maybe this tall when we put it in, and now it's got this one leader that's gone all the way up and has grown like crazy. I know this is a fast growing rose, but I didn't realize that it was this fast growing. I didn't expect it to reach the top of the arbor this year, but it did. I'd say it is establishing well. Now, this is not what I intended to bring out, but I had to show you where this lion's mane mushroom is at. It's gorgeous. Just about ready to harvest. But this is what I wanted to bring out and show you. We had started this flat of seeds probably a month ago. They're definitely ready to come out of their start trays and get into the grow bags that I have designated for them. Got some bunching onions, some beets, cilantro, some kale. There's spinach in here. It's getting kind of shaded out, but that is what these are right here, and then various lettuces down there. This is all stuff that I plan on growing in my greenhouse over the winter, and I've got some grow bags outside of the greenhouse that we need to put in and put these guys in. I did mention the rain and weather that we're going to get. That does mean that even though I'm kind of thrusting these plants into the outdoors, they are protected a little bit by the greenhouse as far as sunlight and wind pressure and things go. So I think they're going to be just fine. Look at how gorgeous the kids' garden looks still. As you saw, they are still harvesting tomatoes. They also still have lovely flowers. Tons of these like lunchbox style peppers. This little guy didn't make it, but that's okay. And then they're also growing a couple cucumber plants over here. These are the miniature white cucumber. There's tons of blooms. The bees have been loving these plants as well. Look at the different colors on these lunchbox peppers. He's got an orange and a red and a lot to harvest before the frost. More tomatoes over here. It's crazy to have somewhat healthy tomato plants going into the middle of October. It's amazing. I talked about this a little bit on my last weekly vlog, but at a certain point in the year, tomatoes just kind of lose their ultimate goodness. It's like after the heat of summer, tomatoes are just not as good, and I don't think it has anything to do with us and just being kind of over it as far as the amount of tomatoes that we're harvesting and eating, but there's something that must happen chemically with them. Their skin gets a little bit thicker and they're just not as tasty. Good morning, boys. How are ya? You've got a burr on your head, sir. You want this? No? Yes? Here, you know what to do with that. Good morning, Farrell. So over here on the lane, we've got a couple exciting things going on here. The first exciting thing is this particular roselle plant. It looks a lot like the roselle plants in the perennial garden, where these little calyxes look like they're starting to swell. I don't know if they're considered calyxes or flower buds at this point. As far as I knew, the calyxes came after the flowers, and I've had a couple people confirm that for me in different videos. This is my first time growing roselle. But that's the size of them right now. And like I mentioned, hey! I named him properly. That's Ruckus. Anyway, all the roselle advice is wanted. Thank you. So here I had been growing some different cowpea varieties. You can see the grow bags down there. These are the grow bags that I would like to claim for our little seedlings that I've got over here. This roselle plant didn't make it. Don't know what happened here. But down here, we've made some progress on filling this space with beds. So as you can see, I have given up on trying to mow the grass. but that is okay. The beds went in here just fine, and we have some moldy hay from last year that we're using just to try to fill up some space. It'll break down in here over winter and actually provide a decent amount of nutrition to the plants that I do eventually put in here. So it's coming along. We are more than halfway to the full lane being raised beds. I do have all of the beds that I need to make this the full 100-foot lane. I just don't have them all put together. The tomatoes down here, I have neglected these. I have not watered them. I haven't done anything with them. And they're still doing. Look at them. Oh, I need to send Molly over here. I bet you she's coming. She's probably got a plan to come over here and collect these. What we have is trellising here is this sheep and goat panel. I think I do want more T-posts than this, just to help brace the trellis from the wind. And next season, we'll put in some more of that panel trellising. This is my second year growing in, not these particular grow bags, but growing in grow bags like this. And I really like them. They're so fast to set up. This here is a 15-gallon grow bag, and so it fits a 2 cubic foot bag of soil with about this much space at the top for things like mulches or other amendments. They've got these 2 carrying handles, makes it really easy to transport, which is very convenient when I want to grow outside and for when I want to move things indoors. Now, I did grow cow peas in here this year, and cow peas don't necessarily consume a lot of nutrition. I have a lot of manure in my barn that I do plan to move over and like basically top dress these bags with, but I'll deal with that on a different day. Today I'd like to get some of these planted. Oh, looky there at the roots coming out. They're ready to move on. Hey, did you know that you're a problem? Oh, I love you. I love you. There we go. Now, where to put these is a little bit of a challenge right now. Where's my broom? Oh no. There's a lot already in here, kind of consuming a lot of the space, and we will talk about all of this for sure. Because of the spiders, I've been taking my trusty broom and sweeping the air in front of me. Because I think the best spot for these bags is going to be down here. Ooh, look at that spider web. See that? That's what we don't want to run into. Check it out. Look at the gorgeous Tromboncino squash. Looking like a Chihuly chandelier, if you're familiar with that. So beautiful, huge. This one is actually looking like it's thinking about changing color. If you've never seen these grown before, they get about 3.5 feet long, and they ripen to a lovely orange, a lot like a butternut. They taste a lot like a butternut. The seeds are only in this bottom portion, a lot like what happens with a butternut. And there's not a ton of them in here, and this whole neck is just full of lovely orange creamy flesh. We really like it. These are also very good green. They're a lot like a zucchini, except less spongy and watery. They have a lot more texture to them, and in my opinion, they're better. They hold up a lot better to freezing. This one's kind of growing through the panel. That shouldn't be too bad to harvest later on. Look at all the spiders. Down here you can see I do have a little bit more space and light. And I'm thinking this is where I would like to kind of set those grow bags alongside what I've already got going on here. There were some melons that I had growing here. They were ravaged by cucumber beetles and subsequently got a lot of disease. They're not going to do anything. So what I did was stick a little bit of overflow of my brassica plants over here. I don't know, these might be broccoli. They could also be purple of Sicily cauliflower. This here is garlic. But yeah, I stuck these in here when I saw that those melons just weren't going to do anything. But they're so small right now that I feel like if I put the grow bags kind of over in this area, that the grow bags will get a good amount of light. And then obviously, as things die back in here, there'll be more light for those plants. These are volunteer tomatoes that have been growing in here all season. And they were looking kind of puny. I thought that they were gonna die off pretty quickly just because there was a lot of armyworms in here and there was some disease. But I treated in here for the armyworms, and basically as soon as I did that, these plants just perked right back up, got a total second wind, and look at all of these tomatoes. There are like a billion. Check them out. Oh, beautiful. The plants are kind of growing up this trellis and then falling back down on themselves. So they're sort of doubling over, which isn't great for airflow, but clearly they're okay. It does impact the walkway a little bit. And over here, I have some lima beans that I've been growing just as long as I've been growing those tomatoes. It looks like I am due to harvest again. With the lima beans, I don't want to wait too far or too long after they have started to turn brown, because they are kind of a delicate seed pod, and it doesn't take very much pressure to crack them open, and then the seeds will fall and the roly-polies will eat them. See them over here? Gotta come do a harvest soon. I've got a little bit more light over here as well, and in the afternoon, this is when the sunlight is on this side. There you go, so kind of like that. There'll be some here, there'll be some there, wherever I can fit them, and I can move them around. So let's talk about what exactly is going on in here. I guess we'll start back at this end. It's chaotic and crazy and wonderful. But we've got a little bit of overlap with spring and summer garden and fall and winter garden. For the most part, the spring and summer garden is still kind of living in the center of the greenhouse here. The Malabar spinach is doing very well. The bees really like it behind the Malabar spinach. We are still growing cucamelons. Look at them. This is another thing I really have to come in here and harvest soon. There are just a billion of them. Oh, there's an orb spider up there too. See here? These are the little Malabar spinach flowers. The bumblebees really love them. My strawberry tower and then my tater pepper are sitting over here. This looks like it probably is going to need some water pretty soon. And this looks like I'm probably going to need to harvest and make some more hot sauce very soon. Loaded down with peppers. This pepper has done incredibly well for how neglectful I've kind of been of it. I just amended a little bit in this small amount of soil. I don't even think it's 5 gallons worth of soil. It might be 4 gallons worth of soil with a little bit of amending, and then I planted it in there, and I've just watered it all year, and it has been producing pretty well all year. The leaves and things are a little pale, but I think that's due to the variety. This particular pepper is a cross between a golden jalapeno and a habanero, and it's good and spicy with a lot of flavor. Maybe, did you check the lane for tomatoes? There's tomatoes down there if you want to get some. Do you want a basket? Over on this side are some cherry tomatoes. These are the Sweet Million, and I had put these in from starts that we bought at our local greenhouse. There's a whole bunch of them down here. Good, but just not really good. I've told my kids that they can have free range of the tomatoes, as you've seen. They haven't really come in here much to collect these, and so we've got some on the ground, and that's how we get volunteers. I'll clean it up eventually. This bed is chock-a-block full of jalapenos. They're huge. These are the Megatron jalapenos, and these plants are super loaded down. Check them out. They're just falling over with the weight, and still they would like to keep flowering and producing. It's insane. If we have any frosts coming up, they're going to be very light as of right now, and in the greenhouse I can maintain a temperature about 10 degrees above the outside temperature. So if it's going to be 32 outside, it'll be 42 in here. As long as I keep the greenhouse closed up and we've got a nice sunny day, we'll maintain a good temperature. So we could be taking these peppers pretty well into the winter. It'll be interesting. I don't have a specific plan of anything to put here, so the plan is to leave these here, but I do need to harvest soon. Yeah, harvesting is on the horizon for sure. Down here is my stevia plant, which it's got a beautiful friend on it this morning. I did notice that this was starting to flower, but I decided to leave it because I have already harvested a ton of stevia off of this plant, and I wanted our pollinators to be able to benefit. I'm not sure if this is gonna do okay in here over the winter. The plan is to just leave this plant in here and see if it comes back, but I will also collect some seed and see about starting some from seed too. I have a few different carrot situations happening down here. This bag of carrots has grown its foliage back after some swallowtail butterfly larvae came and ate all the tops off. But they're doing well. We've got some little roots coming in down there. I haven't messed with this soil at all, so I don't know how productive those particular carrots are going to be. But these carrots over here, they do kind of need me to come through and tame this tomato. I have been cutting it back. I also need to free up my fan. But these carrots are growing from seed tape that I put down. It was a rainbow blend seed tape that I bought from Haas, and they're getting big. I mean, check that carrot out. Right there. It's starting to put on a root. I think that one's gonna be purple. Can you see how dark the stem is on that one? We've got like this one for contrast. Ugh, so exciting. The tromboncino squash, which we already oogled at a little bit, is also frost tender. I'm very confident that we will get, you know, harvestable and storable mature squash. They're not there yet. The few of them on the end that we saw are starting to change color. At the base of the squash, I stuck some various brassicas. So we have some cabbage here. That looks like a broccoli, another cabbage, another broccoli, another cabbage. The plants down here do get a little bit less light than, you know, the plants that are on the outside of the greenhouse. So these cabbages and things are looking a lot better. But that's okay. As these plants die back and I trim back some of the leaves, this here is beetle damage, they'll get some more light and they'll be all right. What we have growing over here is purple of Sicily cauliflower. And I have grown this for several years. It produces really well for us despite heat. I've never grown it into the winter before. I've always started it in December, planted it out in February, and harvested about June time in spring. So this is a first for us, bringing it into the winter time. And so far, I don't see any heads coming on that cauliflower or the cabbages. Now what I'm growing most of in here as far as brassicas go is broccoli. Got a couple broccoli plants here, and that whole bed is broccoli, and the entire back row on that east side there, that's all broccoli, and we'll go over there in just a second. But I also wanted to look at the volunteer plants that we have in here. This is some kind of bean. It's probably a Kalima bush bean, if I were to guess. It's maybe not going to be able to produce, but we'll see. This here looks like dill. Maybe it's a carrot. Let me see. It's dill. And next to the dill, we have some chamomile. And this is a frost-tolerant flower. I'm going to leave that. It might not flower this winter, but it'll have a head start in spring. And I'm going to leave it there. So our broccoli plants on this side are a little bit smaller than the plants that I have on the other side. I don't see any heads over here yet. Over here is where we've got that whole row of broccoli. And over here is where I do have some little bitty baby heads coming in. Some of these plants are absolutely massive, and we have harvested the greens before and put them through the freeze dryer and added those to soups and stews and all manner of things. And I do plan to do that again this year, but look at that. I am going to wait until we've harvested the head before I go ahead and try to pull off a lot of the greens. The greens are there to collect energy from the sun to help feed that head, and I don't want to impact that process. The greens will still be here by the time the head is harvested. And this particular variety is really good at putting out side shoots too. So these will get to be in here for quite a while. Guess we'll try and walk through here. I'm stepping on tomatoes as I go. Now in between these broccoli plants, I did plant some radishes, and they don't look too good. I am guessing that these guys got shaded out too much. There's a serious lack of airflow. I guess the ones down here look a little bit better, but arguably there's a little bit more airflow in this area. So there are some golden radishes coming in down here. Can you see that one right there? But the radishes are not doing as well as I expected, and that's all right. I think the beetle pressure is really most of the problem. Look at these. Oh man, these watermelon radishes, they're basically done. The beetles have done them in. They crawl all over everything and nibble their way and spread disease, and that's what happened. I guess the beetles don't like broccoli though, I won't complain. because the broccoli really is the main thing that we want out of here. One of these years, I may just put the entire greenhouse full of broccoli going into winter so that I can preserve some. We pretty much don't, besides the leaves, we don't really preserve broccoli. We eat it fresh. My family can go through like 3-4 heads, depending how big they are, of broccoli for one dinner. And so while this looks like a ton of broccoli, it doesn't go far with our family size. Well, that there's a garden update. I do have to do a little bit of prep of this greenhouse to prepare for the storm that's coming. It's going to be very windy, and a lot of these plants have just been so sheltered by this greenhouse that a big gust of wind really could knock them over, snap them off. It could be kind of bad. So the plan is to put down the sides of the greenhouse tonight, shut it all up, and hopefully protect everything that's in here. The greenhouse itself can handle quite a lot of wind, so don't worry about that. I'd also like to get the rest of these guys transplanted before then, so I've got a lot of work to do, but that's the update. I'll see you guys again soon.